Hello all. Blarg here. Last night, ONISION tweeted the following.
I wrote this so I could move on for good. When anyone asks me about what happened, I can just show them this. And that'll be it. Wishing everyone involved a healthy life, free of needless drama. Thanks guys.
He then posted a link to an article he wrote on his forum. It is quite lengthy and there is a lot to unpack. But we've decided to read through it and add some perspective when needed. Of course, we've got a fill-in robot reading for us, because who wants their cute little robot voice tarnished by this fucker's words? Am I right?
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
The article is titled, I Would Never Do Anything to Hurt You, they said, and it claims to be a brutal 12-minute read. Grab your paper bags and let's get started.
So, after a very long time of silence with names, I'm going to say one, Sarah. I've decided to speak up on this issue because I recently mailed former patrons a gift certificate to the site, as a thank you for pledging to my Patreon, at some point in the past. A few people responded, with some not-so-pleasant messages. One was, you and Kai are monsters, and the other two followed suit. It is pretty clear that people will form opinions of others, in a conclusive manner, without hearing both sides. And that's not exactly something you would want, if you were in my position. It's easy when you point the finger. It's not so easy when it's your life being put on the chopping block. Call it karma for all the times I judged others. In fact, I called numerous people over the years what people are calling me now. A saving grace is that when I referenced the same descriptive words, I used actual definitions.
Oh no, not this again.
And not just emotions. This is important when you discuss facts and implications.
Facts! Give me facts!
Myself and Kai have been relatively distant from the topic, in a direct fashion because we're talking about someone who was our friend for years, a person we trusted, a person who had repeatedly indicated things for years that are the opposite of what they are saying now. But, this is not about making anyone look bad. When you care about people, you don't go on a public rampage trying to ruin their life. I learned about caring about people the most when I failed to show compassion, for many years, in how I handled friendships I ended. A video I made about being too honest regarding an ex is in this post, and shows how I used to handle things poorly. The way I used to function is if someone said something bad about me, I would retaliate and point out all the reasons I kicked them out of my life. This time? Let me just say, I have no idea who Sarah is. I literally don't. You think you know people, you think you understand them, then something like this happens, and you just don't recognize them anymore. And you wonder who they ever were. If they ever said anything to you that was real. I'm sure some of you can relate with this. Let's say someone says every day that they're glad you're in their life, they act like you're super important to them, that they would never hurt you. Then the next day, they're planting explosives under your car, and tweeting about how the idea of your house burning to the ground is hilarious. You're sitting over here going, wait, what happened to that person who said they cared? Who said they would never hurt me? To be clear, I'm not saying Sarah did any of those things, I'm not saying Sarah did anything. I'm just using an analogy to help you understand the position I have found myself in before. Kai and I outright do not trust anyone anymore. Not a single person. The reason we don't trust anyone is simply because, one day, someone is your best friend, someone says everything they possibly can to assure you that you are a good person, that they support you, that they would never try to hurt you, and then the next day, it's a full publicity tour, going to every possible person they think could hurt you, and saying the absolute worst things. Let me show you a video that Sarah sent when she was literally told to be honest about who Kai was. Something Sarah, I was told, revealed to the public, I in fact asked her to do, be honest. This is Sarah, an adult, speaking of Kai, around 9 months ago. Again, an adult, thousands of miles away from us, giving her opinion of Kai, after she was asked to just tell the truth about him.
Okay, I think we all know about the video he is speaking of. The one that some say seems heavily coerced and scripted, in which Sarah defends Kai.
This is an example of the person we thought we knew, a grown-up, who is our friend, a best friend even, showing support for Kai. She knew when she made this video nothing had happened between any of us, beyond a mere friendship, and we trusted her. We thought we knew her. We thought she would never do anything to hurt us. That she didn't see us as people to go out and use for her own benefit, for whatever she is getting out of what she is doing now. We just have no idea how to trust anyone anymore, due to the fact that we knew this person for years. And you hear it, a lot.
For whatever reason, ONISION thought it would be a good idea to insert a Demi Lovato quote here, stating, sometimes you do not know who you can trust. I still learn that over and over again.
There are things I could share with all of you about Sarah, every story she told us, everything she admitted to, everything she wrote us and did around us. So many things happened throughout the years, things that we don't even have to legally withhold from you, yet Kai remains absolutely silent because he is deeply hurt to this day. He hates the fact I even wrote the statement here, as he wants nothing to do with internet subjects like this. He does not even know how to process what happened with the person that I, not Kai, but I, kicked out of our life. Fact is, there is a common problem with every friendship/relationship that I've ended, and it's me ending it abruptly, resulting in the same social media outrage. Every single time. When I want someone out of my life, I will tell them outright, you need to go. I've gotten early flights for people to leave, especially in cases where it is discovered someone is lying, cheating or otherwise admits to committing a horrible crime. Again, not saying Sarah did any of these things. If she had done something and I went on a tour of numerous channels to hurt her, I feel like that says a lot about my ability to care for people, and what my intentions are. Now if I knew someone who wronged me, in a legal sense, I would simply take them to court and have that be the end of it. Social media exists to give ourselves attention, and I feel it is silly to deny that is why we are all there. Like saying you speak to not be heard. As some of you may know, Sarah allegedly, and I say allegedly because I never saw it myself.
Oh, come on, Greg. You know you watch these things. Surely you couldn't miss your name coming out of Chris Hansen's mouth.
Went on to talk with multiple streamers on YouTube. Very, very well-known names. I get most all of my information through the ONISION Patreon Discord, where my patrons tell me what people are saying about me, and I often either laugh, or say, wow, that's messed up. Well, this time around it was a bit more of the messed up reaction, as apparently what Sarah has publicly said about us, is that, 1, I was mean to her when she was not yet an adult. My response to that is yes, I was absolutely mean to her verbally, I called her mean names, like a grade school bully basically. And that is because I didn't want her to like me, at all. I wanted her to dislike me, that way our existence around each other would never be uncomfortable for me, and she would know I wanted nothing to do with her. I wanted her to stay away from me, and she did.
This one is perplexing. Why would Sarah make Greg uncomfortable? Is it because he might develop an attraction towards her? What does he mean by wanting nothing to do with her? Shouldn't you want to at least have a civil interaction with someone that's staying in your house?
So it worked out. I did, however, apologize down the line. Sometimes the name-calling was a bit much, like using the C word, even in a joking tone. 2, I was told she implied that me being mean to her was grooming. This is confusing to me, because what would people say if I was nice instead? Grooming is the act of treating someone well. I mean this in the manner where someone cuts a dog's hair, brushes them softly, etc. It's not bring the animal in, and telling the animal they're stupid. So with this internet logic that I struggle to understand. It seems like there is no winning, in that scenario. If no matter what you do equals grooming, then the concept of grooming loses meaning.
Greg, you're using the wrong definition. We're not talking about grooming animals. I think you should take a closer look at definition number 3. Grooming does not require treating someone well. It simply requires what is needed for a certain objective. If you're trying to tear someone down, so they will later easily welcome your niceties, that is still considered grooming.
I am at least happy, it is now public knowledge that I was mean to Sarah, the entire period she was not an adult. Because in a rational world, no one sees someone being mean as someone trying to be inappropriate with them. And that's great, as I had no interest in what people imply. My actions clearly reflect that. Just as she admitted herself, was the negative/rejection-based behavior I showed her. We were told other things that Sarah said, which I happily deny, because these statements are not accurate. To be clear, this is a rejection of the idea, and a denial of the implication, that we are guilty of something horrible, as we are not. And if you pay attention, with an honest mind, you can begin to understand the motives and background that led to this. In order to accurately understand a situation, you have to get all the perspectives involved. People can mistake how things occur all the time. For instance, in this video, you have a girl, who at the time, said one thing, but long after we cut ties, completely changed her story when it suited her.
Here he is referring to text messages from Aya.
As you can see above, there was a person who said one thing happened, with Kai and I, and in fact, it was the complete opposite. That's not the only example I have. This is a person who was around us constantly, when Sarah was around, for a very long time, openly defending Kai and I, when we were still willing to have this person in our life.
Here he shows a screenshot of a live stream with Sarah, in which Billy stated in the chat, guys, no one is grooming Sarah. 100% not a thing.
Yet, now their story changed as well. This is a result of possibly tribalism, where because the people they are friends with believe something, they do too. It works both ways actually. So you have to ask yourself, which time was she telling the truth? Which version of her lines up with the more honest motive most? The person who was kicked out of our life, or the person who was not yet kicked out of our life? In one area, you have a person who is on good terms with you, so they say nice things about you, then you say, "I don't want to ever see you again," and suddenly you're the worst person they ever met. This happens to pretty much every person I've ever decided I did not want to be associated with anymore. This is an entire video of me dealing with what someone was saying, not long after I broke up with him.
Greg posted his Too Blunt video about Billy for reference.
And this is another example of a girl, who many years ago, said I was a great person, even right after I dumped them, but as time passed, despite us having barely any communication with each other, she completely changed her story about me, and not in the hearsay verbal communication way. No, she on her own accounts, made directly contradictory statements about, firstly me being an awesome person, then turned and said I was actually an awful person, despite not having significant contact with me, between those 2 points.
I'm not sure exactly who he is referring to here, as he discusses multiple people in the linked video. He does mention Shiloh at first, but also mentions Sky's sister and Billy the Fridge among others.
So what I have clearly, and repeatedly demonstrated, is that people, even Sarah, have undeniably changed their stories about us, and the main event that changed their story, was one thing, our termination of the friendship. Rejection is a powerful thing, it takes over your mind, and if you are not equipped to handle rejection, it can lead to compensating, lashing out, and forgetting all the times you said you would never become what you are now. Fact is, everyone in our life thinks the people who run online campaigns against us are awful. Until we kick them out of our lives. Then, they are with them, claiming their 15 minutes, as all the people in our life still shake their heads and say, "I would never do that to you." What is important to note, is that Sarah has accused us of being physically intimate with her, while she was an adult. She rejected the idea anything happened before that, which is, of course, refreshingly true, in that we obviously wouldn't do that. She did, however, claim acts happened in adulthood, that were put rather crudely. I believe one seemed almost like she was bragging, as she tweeted something along the lines of, "I effed ONISION." You'll have to look that up yourself, to confirm the exact word use, as me personally, I can't bear to look at her Twitter at this point, and have not been able to for some time. Because it's like I said, this person was a best friend, and now it's like they want us dead. You try to remember people for the good times, and when all you see is this enraged person, who wishes the worst things happen to you, it's like a huge piece of your life dies.
I cannot find anything posted currently that Sarah said along those lines. He may be getting it confused with Ayala's tweet.
To get to the implication that Sarah made, she clearly and repeatedly has said she was an adult when this alleged thing occurred. She also accused Kai of numerous things, which are Kai's business, not mine. Sarah and Sarah's friend implied there was legal action being taken. They did so long ago, yet Kai remains completely innocent and free. People who know Kai know he would never want anything like what is implied happened to happen. Kai is a wonderful person, and as said before, wasn't the one to cut ties. But I think, because the other party knows they can't hurt me, they try to hurt those I love, and that's heartbreaking. It's important I inform all of you that we have already spoken to and been cleared by professionals on associated matters, and because professionals have already looked into it, just like animal control clearing me all those years ago, the police taking my ex-girlfriend away when I called the cops on her and clearing my behavior as well, while other legitimate officials investigating my life as a result of the internet and clearing us as well, and concluded we were fine. I would hope every rational person could line up all these facts and come to a reasonable conclusion. We are consistently deemed innocent of what people say about us, yet to many, real-world investigation/facts don't matter. Now that you know we have been looked into repeatedly, not just this year, but over many years, and that you know, with proof, the stories of these people have changed, from their own mouths, from their own social media, I would hope you would allow yourself to have a less extreme opinion, especially of Kai, who is the best person I know. Hence why I am still married to him after 7 years. Ultimately, you will all believe what you want to, but I think that as a person who has witnessed other people go through numerous online issues with people, it's nice to give them an official statement that concludes everything, but doesn't really reveal stuff that could really hurt people you once called friend. As far as Sarah goes, it's really sad to see all this. It's especially sad to see someone you knew for years wish you ill, but this is the nature of the world. And this is how sometimes things wind up. This is not an exclusive story. People know each other for years and wind up being at odds all the time. But, for once, I'd like to not reveal private information of myself or others. I'd like to not discuss things that mattered to me that only hurt to think about now. I'd like to move on. Here's a video I made reflecting these more recent feelings.
To sum up the linked video, Greg basically states he no longer wants to engage nor make drama videos.
So, long story short, I wish Sarah well. I hope she has a wonderful life, and the same goes for most everyone else on Earth. I could do what Sarah did, I could go on a huge rant, go on different channels to talk entirely about her and dramatic topics in general, but I just don't have my heart in it. I'm tired of kicking people out of my life, I'm tired of seeing them hurt because of it, so I've decided to just not befriend anyone anymore. I think if I focus on making videos / entertaining my patrons, that's good enough for me. To all of you reading, thank you. I'm glad this page is now here for anyone to see who decided to draw conclusions about me, or the wonderful Kai, without even knowing what happened. Me personally, I'm glad we have countless real-world witnesses, my family, my friends, extended family, extended friends. I'm glad we have footage, I'm glad we have the massive archives on text, and I'm glad I'm a big enough person to keep the confidential for all that, for the people involved, rather than selling my soul and making this just another empty reality show. All is well that ends well, right? Well, I found my happiness. Kai has been happier than I've seen him in years, so I'd say that's great. Take care of yourselves, and each other.
So there it is, ONISION's official statement. What are your thoughts? Is there anything else you'd like us to look into regarding this topic? Please leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and follow us on Twitter to keep up to date on your favorite streamers. We'll argue later.